Hi guys, how y'all doing? Jeff.
Good
to see you.
Good morning.
Charlie,
Hi,
good to see you. Let me take a few minutes to introduce these guys to you. This is Dr. Charlie Halt. He's an extension range specialist in Fort Stockton, Texas. Mr. J.F. Cadenhead, extension range specialist in Vernon, Texas. Now, both of these fellows have lots of salt cedar in the areas they cover. They work with it on a continual basis. And they're here today to kind of help us demonstrate the brush buster methods that we recommend for control of this plant. Now, J.F., what are you going to cover?
Well, Alan, I'm going to be demonstrating the brush busters basal stem application for salt cedar control. And what we'll be doing is looking at the equipment. Then we'll also look at the herbicides that we recommend, how to mix them, and then we'll put some in the backpack and we'll actually go out and do some basal stem spraying.
Great. That's a real dependable way to control salt cedar. Charlie, how about you?
Alan, I'm going to talk about the brush busters leaf spray method. And like JF, I'm going to talk about the equipment that we use, the herbicides and the mixing procedures, and then also the application technology on the plant itself.
Well, great. We got a pretty day and we've got lots of salt cedar and forecast of high winds this afternoon, so why don't we get with it while we got a chance?
Well, let's roll.
When selecting equipment for the brush busters leaf spray method, there's a couple of alternatives you might want to consider. One is a backpack type sprayer. You can get these in 4 or 5 gallon tank sizes. We recommend re-equipping these with a aftermarket type harness such as you see here, which will help in the ease of carrying this equipment around. Another thing we do is we change out the original nozzle that came with this with an X8 type adjustable cone nozzle. We do this because we can get larger droplet sizes and reduce the amount of spray drift that comes in contact with off-target vegetation. If you're looking at larger areas and somewhat larger trees, you may want to consider going up to an ATV type spray model such as you see here. This one is equipped with a 15-gallon spray tank, an electric motor that runs off the battery on the four-wheeler. We've equipped this one with 3 spray nozzles, which increases the efficiency of spray as you're out in the field. You can go up to about a 25-gallon spray tank if you want to, but we recommend not going over 25 gallons for safety reasons. If you'd like to increase that area that you're going to be spraying even more, you can actually jump up to a cattle type sprayer where you can carry 200 or 300 gallons of spray at a time. For the brush busters leaf spray method, we use 2 herbicides in a tank mix. The first of which is glyphosate. There's several different types of glyphosate, 2 of which are Glypro or Roundup. The second herbicide in the tank mix is arsenal. Both of these herbicides are mixed at a 0.5% concentration in the tank. We also recommend adding to the mixture a surfactant and a blue dye. There's several different brands of each of these available. The surfactant we mix at 1/4 to a 0.5% concentration, and the dye we mix according to label instructions. The surfactant is good because it acts as a wetting agent, and the dye helps us to be able to identify where we sprayed as well as the volume that we put on individual plants. When mixing for the brush busters leaf spray method, the first thing we want to do is read the label for any precautionary statements. Always wear rubber gloves and eye protection when mixing herbicides. Next, we want to fill the spray tank 1/4 to a 1/2 full with water. After we've added water to the tank, we'll then add our herbicide, our surfactant, and our dye at the desired concentrations. Next, we fill the tank up with water to the desired amount with agitation. The best time to spray salt cedar with the leaf spray method is July through September, as long as the leaves have not begun to turn yellow. For effective control, each plant must be thoroughly sprayed almost to the point of dripping. Be sure to wet the terminal ends of all branches. Remember to keep these points in mind. Follow herbicide label directions. Do not spray if leaves have turned yellow or if leaves are wet. Where spray may contact aquatic environments, use glyphosate and surfactant with appropriate aquatic labels. Always check the arsenal label for restrictions on use related to endangered species, livestock grazing restrictions, and areas of the state where it can be used. If the leaf spray contacts desirable grasses, forbs, and trees, it will damage those plants. Cost of treatment increases rapidly as density and size of the saltcedar increase. Remember, controlling saltcedar is not a one-time job. You'll need to go over your land now and then to get rid of unwanted saltcedar resprouts and seedlings.
The type of equipment that we recommend for the brush buster stem sprays is a backpack sprayer similar to this, and preferably equipped with a backpack harness that helps relieve stress to the operator. Probably the most important thing to correct on this sprayer is to replace the nozzle that comes with these with the 5500 X1 adjustable cone nozzle. And with that, we recommend that you get a 100 mesh screen with a check valve to help prevent the dribbling of the spray as you're moving from tree to tree. And the small orifice of the adjustable cone, the X1, helps reduce the spray volume that we use per tree, thus providing a much more effective use of a herbicide. In the brush busters stem sprays, we recommend this herbicide, Remedy, in concentration of 25%, either in diesel or crop oil. In mixing for our stem sprays on saltcedar, we typically don't use as much volume at once because a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to mix up 1 gallon of spray mixture. I already have my diesel poured up, 3 quarts of diesel in this jug, and I will then add my Remedy herbicide, 1 quart, which will give me 25% mixture of Remedy in 75% diesel. Then we agitate this, and typically the Remedy goes into mixture very well with the diesel. Agitate this thoroughly, and then we pour the mixture into our container. Stem applications are effective any time of the year, although the best time is during the growing season when temperatures are high. Be sure to adjust the sprayer nozzle to deliver a narrow, cone-shaped mist. Spray the mixture lightly but evenly on the plant stem or trunk up to 12 inches from the ground. Apply the mixture to all sides of every basal stem, but not to the extent that runoff and puddling occur. Keep these points in mind. Follow herbicide label directions. Cost of treatment escalates rapidly as density of saltcedar increases or the number of basal stems per plant increases. Multiple stemmed plants are more difficult to control with this method. After mixing herbicide with diesel fuel, shake or agitate the mixture vigorously. Controlling saltcedar is not a one-time job. You will need to go over your land now and then to get rid of unwanted saltcedar resprouts and seedlings.
How'd it go, guys?
Good and hot.
Good and hot. Any breakdowns today?
Not any today.
Everything worked pretty good?
Worked pretty well.
Well, before we finish, I wanted to give these guys a chance if they had any kind of parting words of wisdom they might want to leave us with. Charlie?
One thing might be for people to be sure and be able to identify this plant. I think this plant is easily identifiable from the seedling on up to the mature stage. Just look at the leaf, look at the size of that leaf. It's very small, and be able to identify that plant. A lot of people get it confused with willows and other plants.
Right.
So be able to identify the plant.
True, true. Well, if a person suspected they had this plant, where would they go look?
Well, that's easy because this plant was one that typically grows down by the water's edge, along rivers and streams, or in areas where there's shallow water tables and easily access to the groundwater.
Okay, okay. JF, how about you?
Well, Alan, what I'd say is this is a young stand and is probably less than 5 or 6 years old.
Yes.
And it's already so dense that just shows you that these mature salt cedars, research shows that they could put out as much as 500,000 seed per plant per year, and it doesn't take long to get away from you.
That's right.
And we're approaching already probably a broadcast methods on something like this, and it's going to be more expensive.
And their growth rate's pretty phenomenal, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Right. And when we get a stem count this high, really we're getting to a broadcast treatment scenario. If we have to go aerial broadcast, we could spend $200 an acre easily treating an area such as this.
That's right.
Okay. Well, everything that we've talked about today, you can obtain in this pamphlet. It's a one-page trifold. It's called Brush Busters, How to Put a Halt to Salt Cedar. You can get this pamphlet from any county extension agent. You can also get it over the web if you get on the Texas Cooperative Extension website and into their Ag Communications section. Well, guys, I know it's a little hot today, but I happen to notice you've got a little spray mix left, almost half a tank. And I was wondering, since you're here, would you mind just go ahead and spray on out or up this road and using that up before you quit? Would that be okay?
You sound like a few ranchers I know.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. We really appreciate your time. Thanks.